Got a guest standing by. He might be able to help us out with the famous Avondale Tiger, or whatever it is. Tim Harrison has been catching animals for 35 years. He is also, I guess, a movie star. He is a former police, paramedic, fire, and Superman. Hey, Tim, good to talk to you. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How you doing, Mike?
Good. So what sort of animals have you captured? What's gotten loose of the more dangerous variety?
Lots of big cats. One of the most famous ones I got was a 80-pound mountain lion that was loose in downtown Dayton. Probably the biggest cat I've caught was a 400 or 500-pound African lion walking down the main street, somebody's pet that got loose. Sounds like that's what you have now.
Yeah, when they get loose like that, I mean, there was a case, I want to say, east of here in Claremont County. Someone's lion got loose and attacked a young kid. Does that typically happen, or are they just as amazed to be out of the cage as anything else?
I'll tell you, Mike, what it is usually happens, the cats get out by mistake, they escape, and they'll usually come right back around and try to get back in their cage again. The African lion that's highlighted on the film The Elephant in the Living Room was over in Pike County, just a few counties over from you guys. It was a 550-pound African lion. When it escaped, it started attacking cars on the Interstate 23. It didn't hurt anybody, but the potential there is to hurt somebody. But the cat ended up going back to his cage and trying to get back in. That's what usually happens. They escape, they go right back around, they go back to where they feel it's safe and get back into their cage again.
Well, that's what I'm kind of allowing for here. There were 6 people who said they saw this cat at around 7:20 this morning. Okay. I don't know there have been any sightings since, and I kind of allowed for the fact, not knowing any better, maybe he went back to his cage.
Oh, I believe so. Go back to their home, and that's what happens. The majority of the cats that I deal with 8 to 9 a year that's loose in the tri-state area, and they usually try to get back to where they feel it's safe. Even with Roy, when that cat attacked Roy, the magician, when they hit it with a fire extinguisher, it ran back to its cage. That's its safety zone. That's what it's known ever since it's a cub, back where it feels it's safe. And that's about 99% of the animals will go back to where they feel it's safe.
Right. The one guy said who saw it this morning, he put it at about 6 feet long.
Yeah, that's about right. That's a young tiger. I'd say it's probably about a year old, and it could be about 100, 150 pounds. And that's what usually happens. They'll have them in people's homes, and they'll play with them like, they're pets. When they get sexually mature in about 3 years, and they become about 400 pounds, they don't need you anymore. Then they start flexing their muscles. Then that's when I usually get called out. I have taken tigers out of people's residence and lions out of people's residence in the Cincinnati area for the last 30 years or so. There is people that have them, and dangerous snakes, as we know, and large pythons and bears and all kinds of crazy stuff. But just so happens tigers are very popular. If you see the movie, you'll see me actually open up animal finders guys, and they're giving away tigers. There's so many of them out there. They will actually are giving them away free to people with that want to take them.
I always hear they're endangered, and they're giving them away.
Well, they're endangered in India, but they're definitely not endangered here because there's at least 3,000 in people's homes just in Texas. That's the legal-wise.
Wow.
We don't know how many are illegal. In the state of Ohio, when you see the movie, The Elephant in the Living Room, it'll show us going undercover into an exotic animal auction in Mount Hope, Ohio, and they're selling the big cats as fast as they can bring them out. And we've had more cougars. Up there, they sold hundreds of cougar cubs. And like I say, where are these cougar cubs going? People are spotting cougars all over Warren County and every place else. Well, there is people with pet cougars. They do get out, and we do get them back to their residence.
If you lived in an urban area, say single-family houses pretty close together, would it be possible for a neighbor to keep a tiger and your next-door neighbor not know?
I'll just relate the story of my good friends out there. I also teach for Homeland Security out in Texas A&M. And my friends that went down the side of a building, you may remember this, in Harlem, to remove a 700-pound tiger that nobody knew the guy had as a pet in an apartment building in Harlem. Do you remember that? That's been about 4 years ago.
I guess that rings a bell, yeah.
Yes, it does. And then they brought him out, and the only reason they found out he had a tiger because he went to the emergency room, and the tiger had bit him through the calf. And the emergency room doctor looked at the wound and goes, "That's not a dog. Those canines are too big." They went back to the apartment. My friends, who are the police officers there with the rescue group, came down the wall, looked in the window, and there's this monster tiger inside the apartment building, and the neighbors didn't even know it. I took a 200-pound black bear out of an apartment building on the west side of Dayton, and people thought it was a Rottweiler. They never saw it. They just heard the thing banging around in there. And it was just an amazing story because the neighbor next door started cooking spaghetti with heavy garlic sauce. The bear smelled it, tore through the drywall, and went after the spaghetti.
So going back to my original premise, yes. It's entirely possible this cat got out, went back to its owner, and the neighbors don't even know that the owner has a tiger.
You're absolutely right on, Mike, and that's all these stories always begin that way. I didn't know he had it. I didn't know he had it in his home. I never saw it.
All right, well, I guess you got to get to checking your phone.
Yeah, that's right.
If you know anything we don't, call us back with the tip. How about